period. Période des questions. Senator Plett.
Thank you, Speaker. My question is for the Leader of the Government in the Senate. Leader and colleagues, let me quote our former colleague, Senator Grant Mitchell, October 2010. The loss of the United Nations Security Council seat indicates one irrefutable conclusion, which is that this government is incompetent in its conduct of foreign relations and that it has squandered Canada's once sterling international image and international credibility. It's hard to know what's worse about the Trudeau government's failed UN Security Council bid. Perhaps it is the millions of Canadian taxpayers' dollars that have been wasted over the past 4 years. Perhaps the fact that the Prime Minister recently found time to call 50 world leaders to campaign for this seat during a national health crisis in which millions of Canadians have lost their jobs. Or perhaps the hypocrisy of criticizing the 2010 loss when the previous Conservative government won more support than this Prime Minister did yesterday. Canada's back indeed. Leader, I suspect the worst part of this fiasco has been selling out our principled foreign policy and failing to defend our allies while trying to win favour with despots and human rights violators to get their vote. What do you think, Leader? Do you agree, or is it all of the above?
Senator Gold.
Easy question.
Thank you for the question. I don't agree, and it's actually none of the above. First of all, on behalf of the Government of Canada, I want to congratulate Norway, Ireland, as well as India, Mexico, and Kenya on their election. This government is disappointed, to be sure, by the outcome, but I'm advised that the government has no regrets. The relationships and conversations that emerged and flowed from the engagement and the campaign have opened doors for Canada to continue to engage with our allies and indeed with the world to address the global challenges which will serve Canada and Canadians well moving forward. Canada will continue to be a champion of the values that define us, our values of diversity and inclusion, commitment to address climate change, to lead peace and security efforts to assist the most vulnerable. Canada will continue, notwithstanding the outcome, to be a champion and a supporter of our multilateral institutions, so under attack these days from too many quarters, and to continue to work constructively within the United Nations and to be actively engaged on the world stage.
Leader, last week, as part of this government's failed quest for a Security Council seat, Canada's UN ambassador sent a letter highlighting its support for the UN Relief and Works Agency. The previous Conservative government withdrew funding from this agency in 2010 due to its ties to Hamas, a listed terrorist entity in Canada. The letter noted the Trudeau government re-engaged with this agency, and I quote, even while it was subject to a UN internal investigation related to alleged mismanagement, end quote. In fact, this review found sexual misconduct, nepotism, retaliation, discrimination, and other abuses of authority. Senator Gold, last year your government said it was concerned by these allegations of wrongdoing. Either this was never true, or your government abandoned every principle in pursuit of the Security Council seat. Which is it?
Senator Gold.
The risk of repeating myself, it's actually none of the above. This government is committed to the United Nations and the institutions that it works, notwithstanding that in such a broad array of agencies, there are challenges and deficiencies that need to be addressed. This government, through its work in the international and through multilateral institutions, contributes significantly to life-saving work to support vulnerable communities and populations around the world, whether it's life-saving support to the Rohingya or other educational and social services provided to those most in need. the government remains committed to working within the United Nations and with its democratic allies to effect reforms and to improve a situation, or improve the situation within organizations where warranted.